We are going to start in a while. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Rajiv Agrawal sir. Sir, good afternoon. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Nitin.
Okay. Just give me 2 minutes, sir. Then we start. Okay. Good afternoon once again to all of you. So the today's last session, that is session number 5 for today's, and overall this is a session number 9 for our TTP program. So before going to start the session, I would like to read the profile of Dr. Rajiv Agrawal sir. He is Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, MANET Jaipur, MNIT Jaipur. So Dr. Rajiv Agrawal sir completed his Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Stream from Government Engineering College, Jabalpur. Then completed his Master's degree from Production Engineering from MNNIT Allahabad and completed PhD in Industrial Engineering from Birla Institute of Technology, Ranchi. He has more than 17 years of teaching and research experience. He has supervised 15 master's dissertation, and he is guiding the various PhD scholars also. He developed an CNC lab. He has published and presented 70 research papers in journal conferences, including 10 papers in SCI and Scopus journal. Dr. Rajiv Agrawal has actively involved in research and development activity in engineering space. He is actively involved in bringing the industry orientation to the engineering education system in India, working with several industries, statutory body, and other organizations. Dr. Agrawal providing services to the industry, including SME industry, by sharing his expertise and competence of his experience to diagnose and solve the industrial problems objectively in selected area of industrial engineering, automation, and automation. Dr. Agrawal research work focuses on process improvement initiative for productivity enhancement. Through consulting, workshop, and training, he applies his skill and experience to those components that profoundly affect an organization performance and providing a direction for growth and success. Dr. Rajiv Agrawal currently managing a research project including engaged in automation in manufacturing, Lean Six Sigma, robotics, supply chain design, and a reconfigurable manufacturing system. One of the objects of his current research is to convert quickly for the production of new product by providing the customized flexibility and can be improved, upgraded, and reconfigured in response to fluctuating demand for an automobile company situated in India. His research interests are industrial engineering, lean manufacturing, operations management, Six Sigma, and sustainable manufacturing. So with this introduction of Dr. Rajiv Agrawal sir, I would like to say, sir, kindly proceed for the session.
Thank you, Nitin, for nice introduction. It's my pleasure to give talk in 1 week online faculty development program organized by Sagar Institute of Technology Science in very recent topic, which is machine learning, IoT, and mechanical engineering. So I would be actually citing one case study and giving how this case study has been solved by one of my research team, and that is one of the beautiful example of Industry 4. So I have already my introduction already given. Apart from that, I was training principal head for more than 3 years. I am editorial board member of different journals, reviewer of various journals. Currently, I am editor of one journal where call for paper is on. So I will share that also. Apart from that, there are a number of projects. We submitted one project of 113 crores for National Mission of Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical System. And apart from there are a number of projects. So, Dr. Nitin, if you are not able to see slides and moving slides, so let me interrupt in that moment only.
Sure,
I hope my slides are visible now.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
So I would be, since this is the first day, today is the first day, no?
Sir, today is the second day of this TTD.
So you have already seen what globalization challenges emerging issue. I will be not taking much time into that. But my main intention to give you more about live case study. Then how Industry 4 has one transformation and that comparison to today's factory. Then steel industry, what the case study I am talking about, and whenever you wanted to work on any of the research topic, then you have to do systematic literature review. So I will be giving a few glimpses on bibliometric analysis or Industry 4. So since today is the second day for all of you, should I ask these questions? Which are the enabling features of Industry 4? I have some questions are there. So that is the first thing. Who is working on Industry 4? So you people are doing this course, all the faculty member, various researchers are actually attending this course. So they must be able to answer this question: which are the company who are working in Industry 4, when and where? Where are the research research direction, and what are the current research effort is being done or going on? What are the existing research Industry 4 application field, and what are the intelligent technologies, digital technologies, and network technologies are? So I hope you may able to. Anybody want to answer this? Any of this question you want to answer it? Anybody who want to answer any of these questions? Can you name one company who are working in Industry 4?
ABB.
ABP. Okay. What they are manufacturing?
Robots which can interact.
No, I am talking about factory who is completely Industry 4 oriented, and then they are making one product. You are having any knowledge about that? So Bench. So Bench is a company. Actually, I am talking about product. Any product you are knowing, any companies who are exhibiting many products. So no issue. I would be answering these questions in this talk. So let us try to understand, if you all are the faculty member participants who wanted to actually upgrade your skills. So you need to work on those skills which will be relevant for next 10 years or down the line 20 years. Now, if you see these future work skills, then you can say this is the sense making is one, social intelligence, then adaptive thinking, cross-cultural competency, then computational thinking. It is not so that computational thinking is only part of computer science, it has now imbibed in mechanical engineering also. So transdisciplinary design mindset, virtual collaboration. So these are the future work skills which are showing how actually industry is moving. So I'm getting some questions. So no. Anytime you can interrupt me about this. So data science, which people are talking about, business analytics, data analysis, they produce insights. Now, these codes are giving you machine learning, which is an application in mechanical engineering, produces predictions, and artificial intelligence produces the actions. So you people must be working in either this area or wanted to work in this area. So this course will be very helpful for all of you. Now, if I talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, so they are all deep learning is a subset of machine learning, and they are part of artificial intelligence. Now, if we see the artificial intelligence down the line, then artificial intelligence started in 50s, where they're engaging engineering, making intelligent machines in program, where machine learning is how to ability to learn without explicitly program, and learning based on neural network. So artificial intelligence is going on, and this machine learning started in 80s, deep learning started in 10. Now their market is going to increase by, I can say, number of, so 1.8 billion is a current market, which will be going into 9.89 markets. So what AI is basically is getting a computer to mimic human behavior. And machine learning basically is a subset of AI, and it enables computers to figure things out from the data and deliver AI application. Deep learning is also a subset of machine learning that enable computers to solve more complex problems. So obviously all these things are come under one category that's called AI. Now, it means there is something which IT industries are saying. So people are saying that there are IT industries who are actually backbone of this. So we have to have a data from IT industry which are processing. It means better algorithm has to be there, and then output has to be worldwide access. So that is why what globally you wanted to manufacture product, that has to be globally accessible, acceptable. That is why IT has to be make one clear role. Now, if we talk about Industry 4, it is based on connectedness, where machine interact with each other and with the real-time data. So that is the outline of Industry 4. And people always say there is a lot of jobs in IT, in computer science now because of data into this. But let me show this industrial big data in manufacturing. What quantum data, which petabytes, that's 1812 petabytes data which manufacturing is currently having. After that, government, banking, media, retail, then security, healthcare, education, insurance, transportation, and then construction. So manufacturing is a very big user of data, which is 1812 data. A large amount of data has to be shared. For seeing this, various countries like US, and they have started a program by seeing this Industry 4. So they started this Industry 4 program in 2011 only. And Germany started this program in 2012. That is why High Technology to 2020 mission. And then UK started this in 2013. They said future of manufacturing. Then European Commission launched this mission, that is what Factory of the Future, in 2014. China has started this mission in Made in China by 2025, and international plan in 2015, and then Japan has also started this in 2015. That is Japanese Super Smart Society. Then Singapore committed 19 billion in research innovation enterprise in 2016. Now India has started these programs, Lean, Zero Defect, Zero Effect program, and this is in last 6 years only. So we are also committed, and Indian government is also trying to achieve that goal. So why there are nature of work and skill are needed? What type of job? So you can see the non-routine manuals are decreasing. Routine cognitive is still decreasing. Routine manual is decreasing. What are increasing is non-routine cognitive interactive job, non-routine cognitive analytics. These are jobs increasing. So demand for non-routine cognitive tasks has increased. Now this is a very famous Gartner curve, very famous Gartner curve, which talks about expectation versus time. So this is X time and this is expectation, where if you divide this in innovation trigger, peak of inflated explanation, trough of disillusionment, slope of enlightenment, and plateau of productivity. So we see so if innovation triggers are AR cloud, 3D printing, transfer learning, and if you talk about peak of inflated explanation, that is biochips. Automated driving is somehow disillusionment as it giving, but slope of enlightenment, productivity, no technology has come to this stage now till date. So we all the people who are actually working in these areas. Now, we talk mostly what manufacturing needs is they want more controllability. They want more flexibility. And if you add this and if you move this into this, so long-term integration has to be there, and flexibility, controllability will be. So if you talk about this short-term trade-off, so low controllability, if controllability is more, then flexibility is less. But as and when you are moving ahead, going for integration, then you can achieve flexibility, controllability both. Now, we have talked about manufacturing has got petabytes of data, and this data is started with customer order. If they have given an order, that's 100 manufacturing order they have given, then every manufacturing step has got a more than 10 working steps. They have got more working steps, and to trace that every steps, you need to have this data. So what you have to trace in every second. So you are citing this, integrating with this ERP, integrating this manufacturing execution system, integrating this SCADA, that is supervisory control automated data acquisition system.
Sir, sorry to disturb you.
Yeah.
Actually, only first slide is visible right now.
So whichever slides I have moved, you not able to see that?
No, sir. Only first slide is visible.
The first slide, sir.
So that is why I told na, if you are so now you are able to see these slides.
Yes, sir.
So I talked about these questions. You didn't see these slides.
Yes, sir. Future works skill.
Now, previously you could not see these slides.
No. Only the first slide we are looking.
So that is why I told Nitin as if my slides are. So please read, see this. So I talked about future work skills. I talked about future work skills. I talked about data science produces insights, and machine learning produces instructions, AI produces actions. Then I talked about AI, machine learning, deep learning, and talked about this, their market, how their market has moved. Then I talked about IT is a driver for manufacturing. You require a more worldwide access for that. So if I then I talked about Industry 4, which is based on connectedness, then machine interact with each other with real-time data. And I talked about what are the big data in manufacturing is being used. This is 1,812 petabytes of data they are using it. And then I discussed about how US, UK has started 11, and then India has also some plan of this. Then I discussed about changing nature of work and skills. So non-routine cognitive interactive is more. Then Gartner hypercycle for emerging technologies, which is between expectation and time, where we are still to see some plateau of productivity. In this slide, I was actually discussing if you wanted to increase flexibility and controllability, in long run, you require integration. Then what data is actually imbibing in automation is once you receive order, then if every order has got a steps and you need to trace in every 10 seconds. So ERP is handling this, manufacturing execution is handling this, and SCADA is handling this. So it has to, all three has to integrate. Ultimately, this data has to be faster and it has to be directly given and it has to be multidimensional. You can see the 100 manufacturing order for one part and it has got 10 steps and tracing every 10 seconds. Now, if you talk about connectivity technologies and big data analytics, then predictive maintenance is one thing which people are using most. Then quality optimization, then process automation. And if you talk about digital twins, people are talking about digital twins of the factory, then full autonomous factory. Now, these are the changes which will be over next 5 years. So mostly predictive maintenance, and while fully automation digital factories, still people are saying less in next 5 years. So slowly things will improve from predictive maintenance to flexible production method to fully automated manufacturing. So mostly people will use data-enabled resource optimization. That is the first thing. And then predictive maintenance, and then big data-driven process called optimizations. So now there are 5 levels of this. If you talk about first level, that is the first level. Now these are called productivity models. Now first is 5S and Kaizen model, which is currently going on. Kaizen is a continuous improvement. Now that is hands-on level. Now manufacturing companies are using it. Other service companies also using it. After that, if you talk about data level, then numerical control, computer design, SIM, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, that level, productivity level has come. After that, predictive analytics tools, where information level, how analytics need to be. Where when tool will be blunt and when finishing will be going to be not relevant. So that decision making and optimization level has now come in knowledge level, and this is the level 5 which people are working. That is called synchronization, where data transformation to prediction to optimization and synchronization. This 4 has to be worked synchronously: data transformation, data prediction, and optimization and synchronization. So we have moved from level 1 to level 5, from hands-on level to data level, and data level to information level, then knowledge level, and then automation. You can interrupt me anytime. I'm open to any question on that. So please, you may ask any kind of question any point of time. So it's a very open, interactive talk. Ultimately, we need to understand these things very, very deeply, and then try to implement for our research. So RFID has came in 1980s radio frequency, where they talked about using electromagnetic fields to automatically identify and track tags. After that, this intelligent sensor network came, and industrial monitoring, healthcare monitoring, environmental sensor came. That's wireless sensor network came. After that, Internet of Things came in 2009, where interconnected on these things was there. and network infrastructure and self-configuring capability has started in products or parts. So if you add these three, then it will become a CPS. And if you added this CPS into emerging information communication technology, that is Industry 4. So Industry 4 has to be imbibe with RFID, have to imbibe with wireless sensor network, have to imbibe with Internet of Things. So people are mistakenly using CPS Industry 4, but CPS has, once you added new communication technology, then it will be called Industry 4. I hope since last, this is the second day, so you may have heard this diagram or seen this diagram. So this is the first industrial revolution where machine was powered from water and steam, and these where machines were powered by electric energy. And here machine, the autonomous production was there, and now that's a cyber physical system. So you can see where initially you have to see ERP to see where the system is going on, where you can see from any devices where your current production status is. So why we have moved from Industry 1 to Industry 2 to Industry 3, now Industry 4. Now, if we differentiate today's factory with Industry 4 factory, so if you talk about component, now for data source, sensors was the main thing. And the precision and sensing was the key technologies. But Industry 4, if you talk about component, the component has got a self-aware, and they can measure degradation measurement in their in how their machining capability is or how their assembly capability is. In machine earlier, today's factory, their control was there. Their attribute for quality and performance. And key technology was monitoring and diagnosis. Now attributed self-predict and self-compare. And key technologies health prognosis. So it is not so key once the breakdown, then only you have to correct. So you have to first predict, and then first prior to any event, you can say ki this tool is going to be. So earlier there was some equation was there, but here predicting and compare technologies there. Now, if you talk about production system, initially efficiency and productivity was the attributes, where lean and green manufacturing was the key technologies. But now self-reconfigurable, that is called RMS, reconfigurable manufacturing system, where one machine tool, and earlier in my machine tool, you can put attachment of lathe, attachment of drill, attachment of something. But you cannot do the drill in the lathe machine. So you have to have one structure where machine tool can be reconfigurable. So there are reconfigurable manufacturing system, there are reconfigurable machine tools. So one machine tool will be capable to do drilling, milling, shaping. So that is what reconfigurable machine tool, or that is one. Another is reconfigurable production manufacturing system. So key technologies are worry-free production. Now, if we talk about how these all has got a research gap, what research gap in current existing? So single-stated automated cell has now reached to the flexibility level. Digitization, communication, standardization, flexibility. Automated assembly only reached to communication level. FMS has moved to customization level. SIM has moved to standardization. But RMS has moved to real-time responsibility. But still, it has to predictive maintenance, decision-making, early aware, self-configuration. This research gap will be filled by Industry 4 only. Any question on this? I can wait, and I can see what question you may have. So I hope if you are having any question, you can ask. So if we talk about one small factory, now understand if this could be Internet of Things factory. So task to production system, order 500 pieces in 1 week. I refill the magazine. I can do on Saturday. Turn me on. I can work this Saturday. I got to be good use in 2 hours. your Barviki and queue is cancelled, the machine is saying capacity is overloaded till Friday. What's overtime today? Magazine is empty, please refill. So these are the, so this is what actually internet thinks is. So every machine is able to connect it and going to deliver one goal. Industry 4 is now it's known as a cyber physical system with ICT, Internet of Things, on-demand availability of computer system resources, and cognitive computing. These are the sources. So actually, since Industry 4 case study, I will be giving it after once my talk will be concluding. Now I am going to case study. So my case study is done on one industry where machine which can predict failures and trigger maintenance process autonomously. Then there are some companies who are using self-organized logistic. You can see the Amazon is now moving their product from warehouse to directly customer. That is what self-organizing logistic is. Then Siemens PLC manufacturing plant. Result is perfect production quality rate. Now improving semiconductor manufacturing yields up to 30% and then reducing scrap rate. So let us try to understand this. This particular case study has implemented in rolling mill, where one of the steel plant. So before that, I need to give some basics of. So I am just giving you one more new term that is called automation. You have heard about automation, but this is a new term, automation. This is a self-diagnostics as a quality control measure among automated lines is referred as an automation, self-diagnosis, quality control measures. Then it has got a human touch, independence and automation, or allowing process to be able to make own decisions. Gives its human touch. Multitasking. Instead of operator having sit beside each machine, waiting and searching, one operator can now multitask by watching several machines and taking action when a problem occurred. So automation was self-acting, but it is not only self-acting, it is solid diagnosis. So automation has English synonym of Japanese word called Jidoka. It is one of the pillar of lean manufacturing, which is called quality at source, where machine is equipped with abilities and function to detect machine dysfunction itself. Then automation is described autonomy in automation or automation with human intelligence. So this concept is developed because there was a waste of time for further manufacturing defective at the machines, waste of time in transportation defective material, waste of time during defective piece reprocessing, and inventory waste. So let us try to understand by a simple example. If some person is manually feeding this job to here, he is manually feeding watch machine cycle. In automation, if this job is actually feeding through this machine, if it is simply moving from this to this, then he is going to watch. But here in self-monitoring machine, if any job has some kind of defect, then this end-on light will glow and this automated action will be there. Self-monitoring machines. So here, the pillars are Jidoka and ZIT. Now, if we talk about principle automation, it has got 5 stages. Machine detects errors, line stopped, fix immediate conditions, investigate root cause, and install countermeasures. So you can say yes, that sensor also does same thing. Sensor detect error, but sensor may stop line, but it cannot fix conditions. But it investigate root cause and install countermeasure as well. That is what automation is. So if we compare this with automation, then manual process becomes easier, where supervisor can multitask. In machines, complete cycles until stop button is activated. Machine detection of error. Defects can be produced in mass due to machine malfunction. Machine crashes are prevented by auto stop, hence defects are avoided. Errors are discovered later, and root cause analysis long term. Errors are discovered and corrected quickly. Now let us try to go with that case study. So there are very few application of soft computing, that machine learning tool based tools in automation area of research. And research work on relating machine intelligence on automation were not found. So that where our project started, and we identified research gaps. Then we identified the quality related problem where automation as an appropriate tool. Then development of standard automation approach based on soft computing tools to enable machine intelligence quotient, where identification and application of proposed model, and finally simulation and application of control system took place. So we started with quality related problem, then developed computing tool, then how this tool has been applied, and then simulate. So their work plan was, does the literature review, research gap was identified, then industrial visit was made to steel plant, and problem of Zidoka found out in the shop floor. Then standard automation approach based soft computing tool has been developed, and then finally simulation. That was the work plan. So before that, I will give the small introduction is how rolling mill is actually function. So basically rolling mill output is to make rolls. Where they started making billet, they reheated in furnace, descaled, breakdown in mill, and pre-finished. No twist mill were there, reduced and resized milling, and their water cooling system. And then finally they has to go undergone with the various processes where heating, cooling, and descaling, finishing is being made in total process flow. So ultimately, first defects has been classified. So two majorly defects have been classified. First is metallurgical practices, where blowholes, segregation, internal fissures, scabs, hydrogen flakes, and blisters, they have been actually made. Then improper mill practices. So defects has been classified into during machining. This was their burnt steel, porosity, fins. So out of these many defects, scratches was the one which took for the case study. Now after that, their scratch has been analyzed. You can see this particular roll has scratches. You can see this is the scratches. Then obviously the avoiding these scratches in rolling was the challenges. You can see these are the scratches which is coming, and effect of scratches in the product made from the wire. So whatever products are being made from the wire, there also has got some scratch lines. So how these scratch has actually came into rolling, you can see the billet has come to first pass, then they came to oval, then round phase, then rolling direction has been moving from this to this, and then final pass. So from there, roughing mill to intermediate analyzed. And after analyzing this, 3 factors has been majorly identified. First is there is a speed difference. There is a difference in the speed of roller and rolling bar. So that the Fn, Vn is equals to constant. Fn was the cross-sectional area and Vn the speed of the metal. So there is difference in the speed of roller and rolling bar. Because of this difference, then scratching leads that this scratching is being occurred. That is the first factor that is being identified. Second factor was this rolling mill has to go to various structures where during that there are, due to sharp edges in this one process, their groups has encountering their sharp edges. Rolling stands, a different kind of rolling stands. So that was the impact force. Third was the temperature. So ductility ward is governed by temperature, and ductility is directly proportional to temperature. The temperature is another factor. So my research team has analyzed this, and they took cognizance which tool need to be used, and then because of uncertainty where you cannot do the modeling with the real life problems, you have to use fuzzy. So we have made the fuzzy. So I'm just giving you some introduction where fuzzy logic is basically used to increase machine intelligence. If you have got a certain input, then you can have certain output. That is the first thing which fuzzy does. So in this particular system, we have got a temperature input, we have got a speed difference of roller, and that rod, which rolling mill, then impact force. These are three input, and we have got a one fuzzy logic box control system. So they are giving a two output. Either giving the end down output means giving the lights, or stopping the line, or stop the line. So it is giving two output. So uses the instantaneous input and generates a predefined controlled action. How does fuzzy logic controller works? It has to has a crisp value. It has to has some membership function. This has to be fuzzifier, interference engine, and then defuzzified. So this is basically fuzzification. Defuzzification has to be there. So I will not go into these details. So I just told you why fuzzy control, because this is technique which embodied human-like thinking, and it can design to emulate human deductive thinking. And traditional control approach requires formal modeling, where in this practical problem, formal modeling could not do. So that is why this fuzzy control has to be there. It suits control problems that cannot be easily represent the mathematical modeling. So we discussed about difference, speed difference, temperature input, where fuzzy rule has been made, and this particular fuzzy logic control and then output signal is there. So it's a fuzzy logic controller where speed difference was between the moving wire rod and rolling bed. And reheating surface, that is the temperature. In impact force, it has measured by sensor in place along the horizontal and vertical lines. And their fuzzy rule has been made. So if speed difference is negatively high, temperature is low, impact force is low, signal is end on, then no action. So negatively high, temperature is medium, impact force is high, end on signal, line action is halt. So based on that, there are more than different signals was there. So end on is signaling or no signal. Line action is halt or no action. It can be low, medium, high. It can be low, medium, high. Negatively high, negatively low, zero. Yeah. So all possible combination was tested in MATLAB, and then this output has been taken out. So these output what? Audio visual warning signal. This is end on and line action, automated stoppage of production line. This has made in MATLAB, where this 3 input has been given and their 2 output has been taken out. So that MATLAB code was generated, and this fuzzy rule here actually has been made. So this is speed difference, temperature, impact force, end on and line action. So what this I'm just stopping for some time. So if you have any question, let me ask you people if you have any question in this case study. So please ask if you have any question. So if I'm able to give you some, otherwise I will move ahead. I have one more.
Sir, my question.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
Sir, how will you control the depth of flat strip by using rolling mill? In case of your the gauge control in rolling mill, how will you control this by using this in your case study?
No. We are discussing only 3 is scratches. That is the defects where we discussed. We saw there are a number of defects we have taken out.
Okay.
Now, in all defects, we have only taken scratches into. So fuzzy is simply turning out what are the basic combination and how the various output can be taken place. If you have got a fuzzy logic controller in your machine, so how this output can be made based on the 3 different input from where scratches or some defects were occurring. So that is the one thing. Fuzzy logic is not gauging anything. It's only simply controller. It's taking the various input and giving the output. So that is the one thing. Now, what we have just now discussed, that cost, predictive maintenance. Apart from that, you can improve supply chain, improve human-robot collaboration, or consumer-focused manufacturing. As I discussed, I will be giving a bibliometric analysis. Now, my simple suggestion is, if you wanted to do research, if you wanted to do some research in some topic, please do systematic literature review first, or bibliometric analysis. So you need to understand how the number of publications. So these are number of publications which is increasing nowadays, and how various countries are actually involved. You can see India has got a 5% of publication in Industry 4. Italy, Spain, China, England. So mostly contribution from Germany is coming. So it's actually exhaustive. Literature review has to be made. So which institute, where, which researcher, what topic. So you have to do the chronological study, and you see the number of which institute is giving a more output and what topic they are working, and now what research gap. As you have seen this in this problem, the research gap has been clearly identified. So various database has to be seen. So Web of Science, Scopus, now Google database, and there are a number of databases you have to see from Web of Science, Germany, China, Italy, Taiwan. From Scopus, these more or less things are similar, but somehow database to database countries are being changed. So you have to see all the database. So if you see that technical challenge in Industry 4, existing ICT infrastructure are not entirely ready to support digital transformation. Scalability is a big challenge. Some factories are actually working in, so how that factory has to move to Industry 4, that is one challenge. Data science and data analytics will play an important role in Industry 4. The Internet thing is a very complicated heterogeneous network which includes connection between various types of network through various communication technologies. These are references. Now, all are invited to submit your paper in Scopus Index journal. This is a Q2 type of journal where I am the editor of this. I am the guest editor in this. This is about blockchain technology for sustainable manufacturing on circular economy. This is actually link ijmems.in announcement.php. So up till August, you can submit paper, and this is all. If you are interested, you can submit paper here. We can see how China has moved from long lux vial of China to largest steel structure. So they have moved to more than 22,000 years. So we also has to work dedicatedly towards this kind of output for our country. Thank you once again for hearing, understanding, patiently listening. So my open to all. If you have any question, let me know.
Okay, dear participants, if you have any question or query, you can ask.
So my some apologies. We slides could not change during initial times. I hope this session is useful for all of you. So my credentials are written. My email ID, cell number is there. If you have any questions or further research direction you want to discuss, you can discuss this in my email as well in my WhatsApp number. So please have a very intensive training to this for, and I congratulate Sagar Institute of Technology Science for organizing this very good workshop for paternity user. So all participants should take the most of it. I have seen all the people, all are there from different organizations. They have got a very rich experience. So please use the experience of all the big people. Thank you once again.
So thank you very much for your session, sir. The session was very wonderful session, and definitely this session will add something for everyone present over here. And thank you very much to be a part of this event, sir. Have a good day, sir.
Thanks. Thank you, all of you.
Nitin sir, your voice is not audible. I think you have moved.
Okay. Sorry, sir. Sorry, everyone. I'm just sharing the tomorrow's schedule. Tomorrow also we have 5 lectures, 5 sessions. The session 10 and session 11 will be delivered by Dr. S. Danish Ashok. He's professor in VIT Vellore. Then session 12 and session 13 will be delivered by Dr. Saurabh Pratap, assistant professor, IIT BHU. And last session will be delivered by Dr. Shrudhidhara Sama, Assistant Professor, IIT Jodhpur. So thank you everyone. Thank you all the participants to be a part of this event and being with us. And tomorrow we will meet you again on the 3rd day of this TTP. So thank you everyone and have a nice day.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Hello, sir. Nitin, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm not getting a link for feedback.
Okay. For this session,
Yeah.
okay. I have floated it on the chat box. You can check it.
No, sir. There is no showing.
Okay. I have forwarded once again.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay.
It is showing. It's showing.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
काय म्हणतात